The meeting's been called to order, so should we do our Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Vice Chair.
Marshall Public Schools develops the potential of each learner for success in a changing world.
Thank you. Let's be sure we're talking to the mic so they can pick it up on TV.
For all of our fans.
Need approval of the agenda. Do we have a?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any additions? Please vote. Is approved. Our first presentation. Welcome new Marshall Public School teachers.
Do have one who's here this evening, so if you'd be kind enough to stand up and just introduce yourself briefly, it'll help our board members to put a face with your name.
I'm Connie Knott. I'll be teaching 34th grade teaching at Westside Elementary. I'm coming to you from Westwood Walnut Public Schools, where I've attended for many, many years. In fact, it's an adventure, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Great to have you. This is a music-oriented curriculum, so you should do real well here.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming over. Public forum. Anybody in the public that would like to approach the board, now is your time. Moving on to our consent agenda, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Is approved. Financials, Mr. Lamprecht.
All right, the bills for the period of July, August by fund category. General fund, $716,074.36. The food service fund, $185.10. Transportation fund, $30,546.95. Community services fund, $19,346.53. Capital outlay fund, $91,906.36. The construction fund, $392,781. The debt service fund, $359,525. The OPEB debt service fund, $13,193.75. And then the student entrepreneurial fund, $100.35. That makes a grand total of $1,623,659.40, and I would recommend approval of our bills for the period July and August, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions?
That I'll just comment on the construction fund. That was our initial payment to ESG Honeywell. And so there'll be another one coming up on the other project. This was in regards to the energy project. Next month there'll be another significant one. And you'll have probably monthly bills in regards to both of those major projects that are either started or are going to be taking place.
Very good. Thank you. I'll call for a vote. Is approved. Anything with the financials? Anything else to highlight, Mr. Lamprecht?
Nothing at this point, unless someone has finished.
Board forum. Anybody have anything they'd like to bring up?
I'd like to spend, if it's all right with everyone, some time just looking at the information. It's actually included with my report, but it's very focused, I think, on the facility study, and we can just kind of walk through it if you have the opportunity to open up the report. So the very first thing, I guess, that I would want to mention is that we did put out a survey to our stakeholders and ask them to weigh in on various focus areas or priorities, and I've included, as of last week, and there have been a few additional responses since that time, but I've included, I believe there are 4 pages that are relevant to the survey. The first page, and I should clarify before I go too much farther, that there were approximately 450, I think it was 446 people who responded to the survey, and one person could represent different roles in the district. They could be a parent and a business owner or whatever, but out of those 446 individuals, they represented 775 roles. So the first page of the facilities information just is a summary of rate these potential priorities or focus areas, 1 being low, 4 being high, and you can see the themes or the priorities that were chosen as the kind of the introductory question, and I shaded those in black just for your reference. The second page, which has orange and black shading, is a little bit more detailed, where individuals were asked to rate all of the themes or priorities 1 through 15, and then the higher the rating on this document, the higher or more priority that those were given by the stakeholders that completed the survey. So you can see building safety and security was the highest rated priority, class sizes was the second highest, then it went down to student enrollment at each site or school, financial impact of facilities planning, future learning also received high ratings. The third page is a summary of just trying to get a better handle on how aware our stakeholders are of what's going on with enrollment and facilities in the district, and some of the ways that we can either disseminate information or that they would pick up on that information publicly. So you can see anywhere the orange is, the orange part of the bar is significantly longer than the blue part. That means that that's a lot of people answered yes to that question. So things like, do you know enrollment projections show student enrollment growing between 16 and 22% over the next 10 years? I would say that approximately 75% of the respondents said yes, they're aware of that. So that's a good thing when you think about when we started this process last spring. Not very many people knew much about facility study and enrollment in general. So just a snapshot of informational efforts maybe, and it helps me understand where folks get their information. The fourth page of this document, as it relates to the online survey, is a comparison of our facility study committee and how they completed the survey and the stakeholders. So there were 21 facility study committee members who took the time to complete that online survey. It was essentially the same survey as what the other stakeholders took. So we just did a comparison again, the 1 to 4 rating, and I spent, I think, the most amount of time looking at the detailed prioritizing, the 1 to 15 scale, and then averaging out the rank that the facility study gave to each particular theme or priority area and the stakeholders. So you can see the 5 that when you average those two out, again, repeated items from previous, but building safety and security, class sizes, financial impact, student enrollment at each site, common themes that were rated highly, I would say, by the committee and also the stakeholders. And then the new one that comes into play would be early childhood programming, where the committee felt like and rated that higher than the stakeholders did. But again, when you average them out, it comes out as one of the top 5. Do you have questions on the survey or anything that I can try to answer? And then if you go on to the next 3 pages, these are the options or ideas, idea 7, idea 9, and idea 4A that the Facility Study Committee narrowed down and chose to continue to look into these options relative to moving forward to address our space, our enrollment, and our facilities needs. A brief overview, and committee members feel free to jump in at any time, but idea 7 would essentially repurpose West Side to some sort of early childhood center. There would be an addition onto Parkside, and that would be a K2 building, which we would need more room for. There would be a new 3-5 elementary built. No changes at the middle school. And then an addition onto the high school. Idea number 9 would do something else with West Side, demo, sell, do something else, like I said. Parkside would have an addition built on, and that would become a pre-K2 building. The middle school would become a 3-5 and 6-8. There would be an addition of some sort. That would be for grades 3-5. It may be attached, but there would still be, as we discussed, at least at this stage of the discussions, a wall that would separate the 3rd through 5th graders and the 6th through 8th graders. There would be some remodeling and perhaps some addition done to the existing middle school. And then at the high school, there would be an additional wing, 2-story classrooms, probably focusing on science at the high school. Idea 4A would, let me see if I can understand all the arrows and remember everything. Parkside would become a what I would call an early childhood center. It would become pre-K and K. So early childhood would all go into that site. We wouldn't necessarily need to do anything to it. West Side would be closed or sold or something else done to it. The district office would be moved over to perhaps Parkside. There would be a new elementary built, grades 1 through 4, somewhere. Certainly no decisions have been made, and I should have emphasized that at the start of this, but these are still all being discussed and given further consideration. But the district office would be moved to Parkside. A new elementary for grades 1 through 4 would be built. Remodeling and renovations to the middle school, that would remain a 5-8 building, and then again an addition built onto the high school. So kind of an overview, if you will, of the 3 options or ideas that continue to advance in terms of discussion and information gathering. Committee members, is there anything that you would want to add? Or does anyone have any questions?
I think on that last option, there was discussion of that one being PK to 1, possibly. Is this the one that you were talking about, this one or not?
No, I don't believe so, because if you, not that that can't happen, Bill, but if you look at this design or concept, it would be pre-K and K, and then we'd do something with grades 1 through 4 in a new elementary building. That's my understanding of it anyways.
Committee seen the item prioritization in regards to that and the stakeholders?
They have, yep, we reviewed that at the last meeting, and it's also been emailed out to them.
Were there any comments, surprises, people?
I don't believe so. Nothing comes to mind. I think everybody, I don't think there were any big eye-opening things that anyone didn't anticipate.
I was able to sit in for Jeff at the last one, and a couple of things that just kind of stick out that I think are kind of cool is both the survey, the way the stakeholders and the committee members kind of agreed, but also there were how many different plans put out there.
Yeah, I want to say it's close to 20.
And there are different people at the committee, and there are a lot of different ideas going out, but in the end, there were 3 of them that everybody put their stickers on. I mean, it was kind of cool that, you know, how they came together. You know, because there was a variety of ideas out there.
That's a good point, Dion. It really was, as we did the prioritizing the dot activity, I was surprised to see that all the dots were on 3 choices, with one exception that we won't name anybody who might have done that, Karen.
I changed.
You did.
It was only one die.
On the estimates for all three of those plans, does that take us 10, 11 years into the future with the buildings?
Yes, if you look down at the bottom of, say, idea 7, that kind of gives you anywhere if you see red numbers where it says 2023-24, there aren't any on idea 7, there aren't any on idea 9, and there aren't any on idea 4A. So according to our projections right now, that would cover our enrollment projections in 10 years, well, 9 years or 8 years into the future.
And based on the different configurations.
Right,
They
yeah.
all pass muster.
And I guess while we're on the topic of enrollment, I'll just say I think we're all a little surprised, perhaps, at how the numbers are coming in for this year, and finishing last school year with 2,315 students, and right now looking at projections of possibly between 2,400 and 2,450, which is a 5-point-some% increase in 1 year. So, we're already seeing those numbers come to fruition and exceeding. Now, school hasn't started, I realize, and we'll certainly continue to monitor and track that, but it's a good challenge to have.
Any other comments? Very good.
The other thing I would say, Jeff, is just a note under 11.3 that the Truth and Taxation meeting will be scheduled for Monday, December 7th at 6:01 p.m. So we need to make sure that we publicize that.
Facilities update.
Done.
Done. Anything I didn't know you want to talk about the tour or anything? No. You still have the soap dispensers up at Parkside? So.
Yep.
All right. Did you make a comment on that, or?
I did carry you.
I still have carpet
Still
too.
carpet there too.
Bruce, that Bruce, I tell you. Anything else that you'd like to bring up?
Thank you.
I'm just going through the information items here. We move on to the discussion items. First readings of policy 514, 515, 516, 517. Did anybody have any questions on those? Annual review of mandatory policies. Anybody have any questions on those? Moving on to our action items. Approval of the proposed 10-year deferred maintenance revenue and expenditures plan. Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Open for discussion. Hearing no discussion, please vote. Is approved. Approval of extended free reduced meal application deadline. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And do we have a second?
I'll second it.
What is the
Say it louder.
I'll second it.
deadline typically? If we're extending it, what is it?
Typically, it'd be the last day of school, but EMB allows us to have a 45 days.
Okay.
Say that we can extend that 45 days beyond the start of the school day, first day of school.
Okay.
So this way, the board has to approve that extension
Thank you.
We'll do this all day.
every year. Pretty good.
Any other comments? Please vote. Is approved. Appointment of title LEA.
Do we have a motion? Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Open for discussion.
This is just another thing that has to happen every year for our federal programs.
Please vote. It is approved. Approval of increase in sub-pay rate for our substitute teachers. Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Open for discussion.
Mr. Lamprecht, can you just provide a little bit of information about this, please?
We review our sub-pay rates on an annualized basis. We get comparative information from other school districts in the area, and typically we do not have an increase on an annualized basis. It's probably on an every other year basis. Again, based on comparative information, the whole sub-teacher area has been quite a challenge over the last couple years. I'm not saying that $5 more a day is going to provide us additional candidates or more interest in Marshall rather than another district, but I think it does enhance our possibilities, and the total cost, which is in the budget, would be about $8,750 additional cost for that $5 a day. We have a placeholder of about 1,750 individual sub-days that the district has. That does not include more of the long-term sub people, because they're paid at a different rate. But this would, in essence, certainly keep us competitive. We don't know what other school districts are doing at for 15-16. I'm sure some are just going to stay where they're at. Others may go up $5 or $10, but this would put us at the more of the leading edge as far as what's being paid for subs as compared to other districts in our area. And I guess just one other point, if you translate it out into an hourly rate basis, it's like $13, our current rate of 110 is at $13.75 an hour. And for most of our hourly positions, whether they be custodial or paraprofessionals, other positions, those positions are making more per hour than what our substitute teachers would make, again, based on an hourly rate.
I will add that this has been an item that's been discussed at superintendent meetings last year, and districts are really trying to get creative to find ways to attract folks that might be interested in doing this. Paying a scale version or a graduated pay. If you work up to 15 days as a substitute, you get this rate of pay. Once you hit day 16, it gets bumped up. There's districts now paying mileage. So there just are not substitutes out there. It's challenging to find them. And maybe this can be a way that we can attract additional substitutes. We hope.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, please vote. It is approved. Authorization to hire administrative support for the Marshall Public Schools Activity Department. Do we have a motion?
I'll move.
And do we have a second?
I'll second. Oh, go ahead.
Any discussion?
Going to be a shared position like it was discussed last time.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, it would be a shared position with, the position has been offered upon your approval to someone that works in the district office half-time, and then she would actually become a full-time employee, with the other half being this newly created position. And this is something that has been discussed for a number of budget years, and including including our discussion for 15-16. It didn't make the cut, and moving forward, there was an additional request. Scott, I'm not quite sure who it came from, the activities group,
Yep, came from the Activities Committee, Advisory Committee.
and they're wanting to support that. And Mr. Remy's position has changed over the years, like for most everybody, and his responsibilities have increased, and the number of different things that he does has changed, and so this is an appropriate thing to help support that position in that whole department, whether it be junior high activities or high school activities.
This has been proposed for, I think, 5 times now, 5 years.
Probably so.
Any other discussion? Please vote. Is approved. Approve and maintain fiscal stability, accountability, and alignment. Oh. Bill, I thought I was going to get through it. Bifocals. Okay. Personnel action. Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. It is approved. Anything else for the good of the cause?
I do have one thing
All right.
that I missed, and I apologize for this. Item 13.3, which is not an action item. MREA is hosting a series of regional meetings throughout the state. This year there is not one in Marshall. However, the closest one is on September 21st in Slayton. These meetings, and many of you, I know Matt, I believe you went last year. These meetings, which many of you have attended before, are typically talk about some of the good and some of the challenging things happening in the district. I think they are a good place for us to get information from Fred Nolan and also from Sam Walseth, the lobbyist for MREA. And I think they begin to form their legislative platform actually based on some of the conversations. The 21st of September, Tricia, do you remember the time on that? Was it 7?
7.
That is a school board meeting date. So I'm not gonna, if it's something that we feel like a number of the school board members wish to attend, then on September 8th, we would have an agenda item to reschedule the September 21st school board meeting. So perhaps if you're interested in attending the local meeting, if you will, or whatever, you can let Tricia or I know, and we'll kind of gather that input. And if there's a number of people, we'll put that on the agenda for September 8th. Does that make sense? Sound logical?
The other option would be on Tuesday, the 22nd. There is a meeting in Wilmer, which
I didn't know that.
population
Good.
is farther than
Twice as far.
Twice as far?
Yep.
Okay.
Better shopping, though.
Yeah, better shopping.
Jeff, should we let Monica
Fishing,
and Fadum
probably.
talk about how excited they are about school?
Absolutely. I apologize. Did you have anything you'd like to bring up? Okay. It won't be long, yep, and then you can come with updates for us, so. We're always interested in a perspective of you guys.
Are both of you in Link Crew?
I am. This is my second year.
And have those activities started yet for you?
We have training tomorrow and Thursday.
Okay.
Like team building things and.
Good.
Okay, so this week before school, there's a lot of orientations for middle school. They have designated times for the 5th and 6th graders since they're getting their devices, and then regular times for the 7th and 8th graders. Then May Tech has registration on the 24th. That's our first day of school. Last year, only the 10th and the 9th graders got their Livono
ThinkPads, so I'm excited that this year 9 through 12 is getting their classes.
Fall activities are beginning. Marching band began a few weeks ago. Football began last week, and all the other fall activities are beginning this week. The first football game is this Saturday. Marching band will have their first performance there. And then wing crew training sessions begin August 18th and 20th.
And so, I don't know if you know this, but on the first day of school, we're assigned students, 2 people, so a boy and a girl from either grade is assigned 8 to 10 people, 8 to 10 freshmen or new students, and we show them around school, and we do like bonding exercises and how to talk to your teachers, and we tell them that it's comfortable to get to know your counselor, and if you need any help, just talk to us throughout the year and become friends with them, I guess. It's really nice. I liked it last year. And that's it.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Anything else, board?
One of the things on the middle school report everybody probably saw is the great work the TBIS team did and the state recognition. Do we want to try and recognize them in the Tiger Spotlight or bring them forward in front of the board to tell them how appreciative we are for the work? It's a pretty big honor, I would think.
Yep, we can take a look at that. It's a great idea.
Very good. Thank you. Meeting's over.